Namaskaram. This is a very special conversation where we have five future CAs from Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad, Chennai, and once again Delhi. And we have three CAs who are here to help them in their journey of discovering themselves alongside clearing an exam called CA in the final phase. So, this is an open conversation where we'll be honestly sharing whatever they ask without thinking twice. So it's a right time to get the best insights at the end of the conversation. Whether you're watching from there or you're sitting here, you should be more clear about how to evolve yourself and figure out a route to clear CA at the earliest. Okay, so over to you.
What made you choose CA
The question is for Hari or Manju.
for you? And you can also give replies later on. So
Okay,
yeah, what made you why CA? What did you like about it?
okay. Fair enough. Uh, Personally, I'll answer from my perspective. At 17, I had to do something. Now, my worldview and perception of world is very different. As an individual, I'm a free man. I think very freely. But at 17, I came to know that we still have to study. Had I had a chance not to study, I had enough schooling. 10 years of schooling is more than enough. Plus two bhi ho gaya. And then I realized for you to sell something, the packaging is also important. Now, for me, a qualification is a package. I could have spoke like this, but nobody would have listened. Imagine me saying the same thing without those two letters. You wouldn't even listen, right? So this is when I realized I'll have to do something. In India, something is after 17, after 16, it's plus three or plus four. What is plus three? Most of the graduation courses, you have BBA or BCom or BSc, anything, BA, 3 years. And then if you look at CA, it takes 3.5, 4 years to clear in the first attempt. And if you look at the curriculum, plus three and plus four format, you have CA, you have engineering, and medicine. You should have taken decision before, long before. You can't take a U-turn and go back and do BPC. I took MPC. So it's a very logical set of options which I consider about what I have to do. Then, if you look at the course structure, the first and foremost important thing is it has got only 16 papers. So at that point of time, we had CPT. You can count it as a single exam, or even if you want to count it as four papers, let's give it four. And then we had something called IPCC, seven papers, 11. And final, you have eight papers. So 19, if I count CPT as a single exam, which I would, it gets back to 16. 16 papers into 3 hours, 48 hours, 2 days. If I stay sensible for 2 days, I'll get two letters. I like the equation. And there is no college, there is no attendance, there are no projects, and you don't have to go back to engineering like an extended school. When I look at engineering buses, you still have a uniform, you still have. See, I like the concept of engineering. Engineering is a thing which changes the world. Engineering changes everything. Now, even our insights into preparation of CA is also engineering. So, engineering is good. As a course in the form and format which is happening in India, unless you study in IITs and NITs or some of the elite institutes, for which I should have been already prepared because my plus one and plus two, spent in personal exploration, not preparing for an exam. I was exploring my own inner world. So I was not ready for the external exam. So I had to take a regular college. Compared to IIT, let's say if I had to choose between IIT and CA, then my choice would have been slightly different. But a regular engineering college or any other, probably even the top tier engineering college is CA, this is a fantastic choice. This is one in terms of ease of completion. Number two, this is the only course which says work along with studying, learn from doing, learn while doing, learn from doing. Fantastic. At 21, I had 3 years of articleship experience. Now, articleship is real time experience, right? At 21, I had 3 years. people go for 3 month interns, even with IIT or anything. Even MBBS, the housing thing comes after 5.5 years, after 4.5 years. So I loved that. And you can get real world experience where you go to different offices, where you knock different doors. My first audit was a public sector bank where a chief manager, I was talking to him directly. Normally, you don't even get appointment at 17 with that kind of people. So that excited me. And once I clear CA at 21, I'm ready for the world. So I have another 40 years to play. And this is one qualification where you once you get it, it's good enough. You don't need engineering extensions like C, C++, C infinity, and all of that. So you do it once and sort it. You don't have to do that. And apart from that, the subjects are reasonably interesting. If you look at the range of subjects, it it has a combination of something very. When you look at financial reporting or accounting, it's a structured one. If you want something simple and straightforward, it can put you into the career. Financial management, reporting is straightforward. Management is very analytical in nature. It takes you to investment banking. Auditing, you can move into three, four careers. Taxation involves a lot of licensing and it involves the element of practice like law. If you want to get into income tax practice, it has that dimension. So anything you pick up, you can go into multiple dimensions. At that point of time, I had a paper called ISCA, so where you can get into systems management also. So one path has multiple career paths. You do one thing, you can enter anything. So it's like CBI. You show that you can knock any door, right? So CA felt like that. Yeah, and that's about it. Largely. Want to add something?
So when I'm in my SSC, my mother was looking for my career. Uh, Next, what I have to do for my career. So she came across a magazine, weekly magazine. So in that about CA, she came across and she showed that to me. So I too got to know about it, and I was interested in. I got interested in. So the other things which I'm not interested in, which was engineering and all. So I got interested and I came to CA. And later, the stubbornness of clearing CA came in my articleship because though it was taking more time. So I was stubborn to clear it because the uh, length of it or the dimensions of it or the dynamics of it, where we can go through everything and we can search our career every way in every way. So it made me to clear it, take a stubborn step and clear it. So this is how I got the love of clearing CA.
Me, it was after 10th, I mean, during my summer holidays, my dad was invited to a event wherein he was the chief guest of opening a organization which provides education to underprivileged kids. So I thought this is something amazing. Like this is so cool. Who's doing it? It happens to be one of my uncle, and he's a chartered accountant. So I thought, wow, he's doing it, so I'll do it. I'll also do something like this. So that's the moment I decided. I didn't know anything about CA, nothing, because most of my cousins or friends, everyone is a doctor or engineer. So I didn't know much, and that excited me further because I thought I'll be the first in the family, and I also heard that it's tough. So I thought, okay, tough things, I'm built for it. So I chose that, and from then on, I started loving the subject as well in terms of accounts or tax or even financial management. I enjoyed doing it. So my likelihood towards the subjects grew. However, it took some time, but it has its fair share of up and downs. But yeah, eventually here I am. Getting what I wanted. That is the cool part, I think. I always wanted to be a CA, and here I am. So yeah. Must be feeling good. Yes, it definitely does feel good. Yes.
But why HLS? I mean, everyone has their own reasons to step into HLS, but you are a part of HLS. But what made you both decide that you're going to step into HLS and make it out?
Okay. I always keep saying, sir, that sir, had I known about this earlier, I would have joined during my CA inter itself. Why waste so much of time? So again, I think that boils down my answer. Had I known about it earlier, I would have taken this decision much before. In terms of why HLS, Hari, you want to add something to this? I mean,
Yeah, like you said, it was a time factor. Also, I got to know that I am lacking at something. My father used to tell me you need to learn some techniques from your seniors so that you will clear. I used to deaf. I gave him a deaf ear to that. I didn't listen to those things which he said. For two attempts, it went like 361 once, and later attempt it took me to 347. So my marks were gone down. So then I realized I need to take some consultation or something. So by the end of the day of the result day, my father got to see a video, YouTube video, and in that so I was speaking about the techniques of clearing CA, and I felt like the main part of difficulty of my preparation was multiple revisions and the 1.5 day revision problem. So those two problems, the techniques which he was speaking in that video was aligning with the problems. The solution was aligning with the problem. So I felt it logical, and I called them and I joined here. And later part, I trusted him with everything, and I got clear.
again, adding to that, I'd say so I'm privileged enough to have worked with Sir for a brief period amount of time to understand how actually you have to study. What's your learning mechanism? How do how much of effort you need to put in to pass a certain exam. So I was privileged enough to having even before I joined HLS as a residential student, I had a brief, I'd say, learning experience with Soul. So that threw a lot of light on, okay, how can we do things in a better manner? How can we learn properly using this technique, very specific techniques? How can you clear an exam? That really got my interest in. And then I thought, okay, if I'd be having all these things, even I can pass. So then I thought I should be having this for me to become a chartered accountant. And that's how I've taken the decision of joining HLS.
Actually,
No, no, you can ask. You're saying you can ask.
We have to ask why did you found HLS?
Acha, you ask.
Yeah, for us joining HLS, why making HLS?
Let's look at the frame from the camera perspective. Now you have three chartered accountants here. If I put 5 months of effort, it becomes 8 CS. Even for a big four partner, having 8 competent CS is hard. Vivekananda in one of the quotes says, "Give me 100 strong men, I'll rebuild India." So for you to do anything in life, after you reach a particular point, you need to build a team. So for me, as an individual, I peaked out. Whatever I could do, I was reasonably able to do it. At some point of time, I realized for me to do something more, I need a team. So when you want to hire someone, most of the companies take at least 3 months to hire a chartered accountant. They're serious about hiring, not a random guy who walks in. It takes 3 months to hire a chartered accountant, where they'll focus on, I want this skill, I want this skill, I want this skill. Now I'm not somebody sitting and hoping that somebody will turn out. In 3 months, I'll build those skills. Why should I hope? So, in one perspective, in terms of building a team, I wanted a 10-member team, committed, strong, capable, intellectual, that team. So, for me to do that, I'm going back and fixing it from here. So, first, one of the strongest reasons is I'm building my own team. Now, what I do with this team, there are a lot of things. I'll share at appropriate time with what I'm going to do with this team. This is one. From my perspective, which is very practical. Now, from the emotional side, this is from founder's perspective. Now, from a father's perspective, For any man, no matter what you achieve in life, your weakest point or your most sensitive point is a daughter, or could be son. I don't have a son, so I don't know, but largely it's your daughter. And the worst thing for men is you cannot share, you cannot even cry, you can't do anything. So when my daughter, as little as 3 years or 4 years, had slight learning challenges, it hit me very hard, very, very, very hard. Like slight learning challenges which can be fixed, probably sorted over the couple of years. But when I see fully grown up men, largely chartered accountants in the 50s and 60s, building empires and having 30 years of rock solid career, and then what is bothering them the most, seeing the daughter struggle, not monetary terms. He just upset. People are upset that struggling. Now, if I have to do something for someone who is probably experiences more than my age, I should do something for the kids, not directly for them. This is from the father's side, and even for the mother, even from the family. If I kind of create an ecosystem which will help a student clear this exam by a margin of 50 more marks. And Hari was saying he was getting stuck at 340, 360 instead of 400. So the margin is 60 marks, 50 marks. Manju largely. The margin is always 100 marks, maximum 100 marks. I think that's the case with all of you. So if I have 100 days, if I add 100 marks to this kid, whole family changes. And I've seen that for somebody actually, first generation, her father is proud, her son is proud. Somebody like Suresh, the whole family dynamic has changed. Even somebody like Hari, he is able to come out of the first generation and he can build something on. And even for people who are existing CS, they can rebuild their entire practice. There is nothing else in anyone's career which will accelerate so much because of clearing one exam. So no other 6 months in your career will create such a remarkable difference. So literally, it's life changing. So when I built him life school, it should be life changing. I thought this is one of the best opportunities to change someone's life and turn the tables for the family entirely forever. So that way, it has become why not? It's difficult, it's hard, it's always when you can scale, when you can expand, it's hard to fold your hands and sit and say that I'll only take 10 people, 11 people, all that. It's hard, but I think this is the right thing. When you do the right thing, things will automatically happen. So the only thing we do is we stick to fundamentals. We don't do everything we can. We only do what we should. We only do what we believe in, not what all can happen. So that's why you experience this slightly differently than any other institute. And right now, if Manju has to represent HLS, I can take a step back. I trust her so much. If Hari has to represent HLS, I can take a step back. So I'm actually happy and proud that I'm getting the right kind of students. So it should be at some point of time, probably 1 year down the line, there should not be a conversation about me. No, HLS is a space. Anyone you meet at HLS, you should get the same experience, right? Now, what is a brand? Any product you pick up, let's say Dadu's, any sweet you pick up from any corner, it tastes the same, right? Now, this is exactly. So tomorrow, anyone talking to any one of you, this is what the other party should experience. So I think we're in the direction, and thankfully, we're getting the right way.
Considering we are in preparation stage, and at some point all of you all also must have been, don't did you not at your time of preparation feel that this is too much, maybe we should just stop and go ahead with something else? Or did you not get tired of studying so long for so much for so long? And what are your thoughts, and how can we do better? Anybody can.
For me, yeah, but my relatives was saying so. It was too long for you to do CA. Switch on to something else and get something else in your career. It will in experience wise, you'll get experience and may pull you up because you are stuck up somewhere. It is not taking you further. So switch on to something else and do something else. And as I said during my articleship, I got this stubbornness of clearing CA. because of it, length and width of it, dynamics of and dynamic. Uh, Everyone I came across, whoever my relatives were saying to me about this to me, I told them this. So I never got bored about CA because I never tried for three attempts, and later three attempts I tried and I failed, and at last I came here and I passed. So when you have that gut feeling that you will clear it at any point of time, and there is no something pulling you back from happening of this thing. When you know that you're, at any point of time you'll get this, there is nothing that gonna stop you, or even you won't stop yourself. So you have to be stubborn in yourself that something someday something gonna happen, and it will clear all your obstacles to clear this thing.
See, when you want something so bad, you do everything to in your capacity to achieve it. I wanted to become a CA so bad. I wanted to do that. Yes, like you asked, there are certain points where I feel, oh my god, I'm doing so much, but still I'm unable to pass, or I'd rather give up, do something else. My life moves on. But then I used to remember that, have I really given my 100%? Had you really given your 100%, you would have become one. Only when there's a gap from our end, we feel that, oh my god, I've done so much without actually doing it. So then I thought, I'll have to fix this. If I do 100% and still I fail, then that's a question of, probably it's not meant to be, or whatever. I have not given my 100% and I'm saying that I'll give up. What kind of person am I? Like, when I want it so badly. Had I not wanted it, that's a different story, right? I want it so badly and I'm not doing things that make me become a chartered accountant. Then I thought, okay, I'll fix this. And then HL is the best place. I thought, I'll fix this. I'll give in my everything. I'll give my blood, sweat, tears, as they call it. I'll give that. And then let's see what happens. And then I did that, I passed. So I'm sure that once a person gives their 100%, they'll clear. So that's when I realized, okay, fine. Even though there were moments when I felt like giving up, it was because of me, not because the course was hard or not because the paper was hard or anything. Once you give your 100%, you can do it. That's the realization I've learned by my association with HLS before I was a student. So,
I'll give you a far more simpler perspective to this. Now, if you look at life fundamentally, there are two ways of looking at it: 8 plus 8 plus 8. 8 hours of sleep, common for everyone, right? 8 hours, remove that. Now, the remaining 8, one for personal life, one for professional life. When I say professional life, most of the companies, the core work is 8 hours. Lunch 1 hour, whatever break 1 hour, if you remove 8 hours. Personal life includes everything for you to get up, for you to spend. This is one aspect. Even simpler version is 12 plus 12. 12 hours of personal life, which includes your sleep and everything. 12 hours of professional life, which includes your traffic, food in the office, everything. Okay. So for simplification, I'm looking at 12 plus 12 right now. So 12 hours you get to do easier personal life, 12 hours professional life. No matter what you have, where you are, what you do, you cannot extend this 12 hours too much. Maximum, it can be 16 plus 8. You cannot have a 24-hour personal life, right? You'll be bored. Like I think you had reasonable episodes of that where there is nobody watching you. You can call it preparation, but you could do anything sitting in a room in front of your laptop where you didn't have any financial responsibilities. You don't have to do anything. Now the pressure, responsibility, guilt, and all of that you have created for yourself to maintain your mind in a certain way. But except that you had an experience of not doing anything, right? You had a chance of not doing anything. So even I had it and I tried it. But one thing I realized is for us to stay sane, cognitively sane, 12 hours we should do something with the brain. Profession, some profession. Even if it's homemaking. I could have been a house husband. Even then 12 hours I could do something, right? So one thing is clear, we don't have the ability not to do anything. We should do something in 12 hours. Now what you choose to do in this 12 hours makes you or break you. Virat Kohli decided to play cricket in those 12 hours. He's somewhere. Shah Rukh Khan decided to act in those 12 hours. Somebody decided to do business in those 12 hours. Like, what do you do in this non personal space defines you. Now, in this 12 hours, you study something like Bachelor of Commerce. You'll become a BCom graduate. In this 12 hours, you study something like Chartered Accountancy. You'll become a CA. So, first of all, you have to understand this 12 hour is largely boring, whatever you do. You substitute. Right opposite this building, we have something called lift. I have considered that also. But when I looked into the curriculum, fashion designing as a career is exciting, but as a course is boring. You have to sit and stitch and cut and do that for 4 years. So that 12 hours doing fashion technology is also not as exciting. I spoke to a lot of pilots. At some point of time where you become a senior pilot, where you make a crore per year, then it's fine. But until that process, it's like one more car, right? So there is always boredom in the process of learning or building anything. It's always there. But how do you understand it? You should look at it like this is an incremental step towards doing something. Now, the act of eating food is great, but if you call cooking as boring, then it's hard for you to do anything. You'll find anything boring, everything boring. Right? What is that one thing you can directly have? What is that one thing? For example, you want to watch a movie. Now, what would happen to the villain in Pushpa 2? You have to wait for 2.5 hours to understand what would happen. If you call the 2.5 hours boring, if you directly skip to the climax, you can't enjoy anything. No, you can't technically, let's say, if I directly give you a certificate, I can just pass it on. That one. If I say that I'll strike my name and I give it to you, hold it. Would you enjoy it as much as you enjoy after putting in those 6 months? There are a lot of PhDs you can buy. People buy doctorates. Forget about CA. You can add doctor in this 6 months. Would you really enjoy it? That's so you have to go through a phase which is not really exciting. Only then you'll see you like it. This is exactly how it is structured. Everything is like that. The construction before without the paint, it looks very different, right? It's very boring mechanical process. Everything is like that. But if you fine tune your mind in such a way that you like the process also, that's why journey, right? It's all about the journey. A journey. What is there in journey? You said ideally, like let's say you're traveling to a remote hill location. Now, until you get to that point, it's 6 to 7 hours of boring travel. You sit. If you call it boring, it's boring. You call it relaxing. You call it enjoyment. It's like that. Now, for me, the most exciting video probably could be on the day where you're all 5 CS, where you hold 5 certificates, then that is exciting. That is exciting, definitely. But I can't, if I look at it as boring, I cannot do this. This will lead to that, is how I visualize. This video, this is part one. Part two is after your results, where you sit like this in the same order, probably wearing the same dress. Now, you think about it. That excites you. So, how you construct your perspective about the 8 to 12 hours of your life. The remaining, you cannot do much because it's personal. That's it. Nothing changes significantly. This, how do you construct and how do you approach it, makes all the difference. So, anyways, you have to do something which is beyond your personal capacity. So, rest of the life, it's like that. But once you understand it, you will solve.
Since I'm here a long time, so I have answered like no all the answers mostly. So if you have to describe all three of you, that how should be our approach, what should be our mindset in one line, which will help us ace these 6 months. What should it be? Just one line, like our mindset or our approach. Our approach.
If I were you, I would surrender to the process. It's not because of HLS, it's because of me. I took a decision to trust someone or something. So I would rather trust myself to trust it until the end of the journey. So my word would be surrender. That's how I learned everything. Wherever I learned, whomever I've learned, I always surrendered. So that makes my life easy because if you keep questioning it, there are endless things and it'll dilute the original thing. So my word would be surrender.
My word would be consistency, I think. Consistent. Being consistent, showing up every day, every day, every day, same amount of time, sticking to the study slots, putting in the effort each single day to lead to results. So, consistent.
Don't fear learning the new thing in a new way. Don't fear learning a new thing in a new way.
While preparation, like when you did it alone first, how did you deal with anxiety? And how is it done differently at HLS? Like dealing with anxiety, when you did it alone, preparation, how do you deal with anxiety? And when you are at HLS, how is it different while dealing with anxiety?
So, anxiety in terms of exams, I can answer. During the preparation, everyone's pretty much relaxed and calm. In terms of exams, I never had this exam fear until and unless I came into CA. After, you know, failing a couple of times, then I understood, okay, this exam gives me a little bit of anxiousness right before, especially. And then how I used to deal with it when I was on my own. I do nothing much about it. I used to just be like, okay, it's fine, let's go. I was always in that mode, and I used to largely screw up my first exam because that's the exam where I was most anxious. Because that if you screw up first paper, you all of you know that it has an impact. It has a corresponding impact on the other papers. So in one exam, I clearly remember I got 192 out of 200. I lost that 8 marks because of my first exam and because I was anxious. So I used to do nothing much about it. I mean, parents used to say something that do not worry and all, but it largely never used to work out because it's coming from internal sources, right? It's parents. So you're like, okay, fine, whatever. Here again, when I got really anxious during my first exam, so was taking me to my exam. I clearly remember that day, and I was really panicky and I was like very anxious. And then sir said that at one point you'll have to believe in yourself that you've done enough. At one point you'll have to believe in yourself that you've done enough. You'll have to say, "Bus." In terms of sir's language, screw it. Like enough is enough. Enough. Just you've done enough. Believe in yourself and go. At this point, you cannot do anything. You cannot fret about what I could have done better. And I was sure, and so was reasonably sure that okay, we've done put in enough effort for us to go and clear. He was like, at one point, you'll have to decide. What is that point? You decide. You will have to decide when you decide that you'll be like, okay, now it's just between the exam only. Let me go and write. You'll not have to be anxious about it. So, sir told me that one point in life you will have to be like, this is it. Beyond this, if I worry what I'm gonna go screw up the exam and come, so I cannot take that chance. I've put in so much effort. Now I'm deciding that okay, whatever it is, I'll go right and come. And then that's how probably I've come up with, a little bit of courage to go and face a very similar exam one more time. And yeah, that those words still I still resonate with them because in terms of any other thing also I apply those. I'm like, okay, now what happens? Let's see. देख लेंगे क्या ही होगा ठीक है ज्यादा वरी होगा तो और भी बर्बाद होगा तो ज्यादा वरी नहीं होंगे देखेंगे क्या होगा तो ऐसा हो गया so
Anxiety, yeah. Previously, when I'm doing on my own, uh, most of the times, anxiety gets to me when I get to, in my den, I go to sleep. So I used to not get the sleep very early. It used to take 4 to 5 hours on the bed, thinking of myself to get to sleep. Will get at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. I'll go to sleep and then let it have the effect of it on the other day. So previously it was like this all the time, all at once. I used to not get the sleep, those anxious attacks. Later, The reason of joining the HL is also the same thing. Preparation cycles and sleep routine. After joining HLS, most probably I used to have 5 to 6 hours of sleep. When I close my eyes, 5 to 10 minutes, I'm into sleep because of the load which I took during the day. It made me go into sleep that fast. And during my exams, I think one or two exams, I got a little bit of anxiousness, and that time I made myself, I thought myself, "Okay, you have done so much. If not this time, later part, I can handle ourselves. Nothing gonna break us doing anything in my life later." So that the, this preparation cycles and all made me not bother much about anxious preparation part of my last attempt.
And also, I think the part where parents say a lot of things, right? They say that your preparation is not up to the mark. You will have to do this. You will have to do that. My father and mother also have told me during when I used to prepare on my own. But hearing it from some external source like my mentor, it somehow works. That's it. I cannot give a logical explanation. I'm sure there is, but it somehow works when you trust a person and when you're following everything, and that person says, "Okay, this is what you do and this is what you don't," and you follow it, it works. It's something that you will proudly see only once you start doing it is when you believe it. When it happens to you, you'll believe it. So largely that's about anxiousness or mindset part.
I'll just give you a back end framework of how we resolve this. There are three things. I call it SAD: stress, anxiety, and depression. Stress is created on a daily basis. Stress is real time. Anxiety is always about the future, largely about the future. You're anxious about the future. Depression is about the past. The easiest thing to solve is depression because past is done, dusted. You can settle it with a conversation. Let's say I couldn't clear civils. I know I'm capable. I know I could have. It's a very silly mistake. After the first exam, I thought I am not going to get a good score in that. So it doesn't make sense to write the remaining exams properly. I failed in my mind. Again, this is after clearing CS, EMA, and CS to the extent I did, and all of that. I had everything, but still, on that day, when you are strategizing and when you are executing it in real time, you get blurred. It was there for a while. It's still there, but at some point of time, I decided I don't want to carry the load because it's too much of burden. Okay, it's not there. Probably 30 years of career as a civil IAS officer, probably will become a joint secretary. Let me get to a point which is closer to that. Let me build my own path, which is far more exciting. Whatever, whether it's true or false, whether it can happen or not, you can always look at it at a later point. So anything which has already happened, you can disconnect it. You need not be depressed about it. That is depression. Stress you have to handle on a daily basis. Stress, and then when it comes to stress, the amount of work you do not do creates stress. Stress is created by the amount of work you do not do. Let's say on a given day you don't study, you daydream, you laze around, and then the stress which gets built at the end of the day is humongous as compared to you doing everything right and having a proper day. You'll be less stressful, which you should be noticing already. When you do things, you'll be loaded, but you'll be less stressful. Physical load is different. Mental stress is different. Stress is generated due to inactivity, not activity. It's the exact opposite of people think. People, what if I feel stressed if I study more? No, when you study more, you'll feel less stress. Stress is inversely proportional to your work. So this is about stress, and there are some mechanisms to do this. Now, anxiety. I'll give you a very practical example of anxiety. Now, anxiety. This is very important because it's the hardest to deal. Anxiety is the hardest to deal. Results will be released in the next couple of weeks, not later than couple of weeks, and then couple of weeks from then we have CA inter students writing their exams. In this couple weeks, we have all the admissions happening. As an individual, when I go and write an exam, I always have a chance of failing. Now, this I cannot change for myself also. I know that I'm going to, let's say, can India say that I'm going to win the match for sure? Can Australia say that I'm going to win the match? Then Roger Federer say that no one can say it. It is always, there's always a chance. There is a reasonable chance that somebody can win, but there is no absolute chance. Australia gets defeated by Bangladesh. India can get defeated by Netherlands. It just happens. So when you go and write an exam, it can always fail. Now you imagine the level of anxiety as a founder I would have when, let's say, more than 10 people are writing the exam. It's there. Now, can I remove it? No. But how do I process it? Number one, is there something else which I could have done or which we could have done more than what we did? Largely, no. We couldn't have done anything else. That's it. And second, when someone came in, we made sure this is the best ever attempt for each and every kid who has come here. This is the best attempt, whatever it is. Now, if I see a pass percentage is 1%, most of them won't be clear. If I see a release result at 1%, most of them won't clear. If it's 20%, all will clear. If it's 8%, you understand that, right? The dynamics. Now, as an individual, we understand anxiety. Now, even for you, you've invested something, and your parents are trusting that you're going to clear, and you're getting all the support. What if I don't clear? What if you constantly have this? Now, is it helping? Let's say if that feeling is actually helping you to do better, let it be. That's okay. I'm not talking about the psychological comfort or discomfort. How is it impacting you? Now, how is it impacting me when I am getting a question that, okay, we'll have to wait and see for this student's result. Largely, we have to wait and see the results. I'm not liking the feeling. What if I know, like Sultan, like when you make that move, you don't have to look back. You won the match. So this is exactly what we are trying to implement for you. That is the reason why we are being so hard hitting from day zero. Now, the cycle which you are going through, it could happen at a later point. But why are we insisting that before the Jan 10th you have to complete at least two subjects? Because I want you to be in a very, very disproportionately advantageous position than any other student in India. So this anxiety which is generated here, where I'm reasonably forced to wait for my student's result, I don't want that next time. So I'm implementing it this time. But having said this, can I significantly change something for the outgoing inter students? No, real time. Because this information I have now, I don't have it retrospectively. Because one of the problems with most of you is the clarity which you get today is not something which you had on that day. Without knowing this, you keep on regretting. You think you know this, but you didn't know at that point of time. What can you do about it? Now, I also know that after your batch ends, I'll still get a lot of learning points. So you have to be very realistic about what are the insights which you have at that point of time. As an individual, if you're responsible at any given point of time, if you're engaging your best sources, that's when you can do something and leave it. Give your best and leave the rest is this. So level of anxiety will be significantly reduced if you give your best and leave the rest. This is one. Next is external anxiety. There is a high chance that the anxiety is not because of you. You might be accepting the result, positive or negative, but you're worried about how others will look at you, how your parents will look at you. That I respect myself way too much. I don't care about others beyond what I care about myself. Now, as a founder, I get impacted. I get hurt if any of my students fail. That's it. That's the range of my disappointment. I don't care about some random guy commenting about it on YouTube or how some students relative got affected because of the result. I can't do that. So you have to define your boundaries and decide, okay, I'm putting my best work. You define the scope of your anxiety. What are you anxious about? Are you not willing to give yourself a chance? Now, as an individual, yes, I did my best. If it's not 100% now, 70% great, 80% great, I'll get to 100%. I'm sure. I'm 100% sure that I'll get to 100% result, whatever exam it is. I'm definitely sure. Is it happening now? Maybe it might happen. It may not happen. But you have to give yourself a chance. So the more acceptance you give to yourself, the more scope for improvement you identify, the lesser the anxiety becomes. You break it down, you convert that into logical steps, not accept the emotional part as a burst. So when that happens, you'll be able to handle better. Again, depression is easy to resolve, stress is easy to manage, anxiety is futuristic because you don't know what it is, because you cannot handle uncertainty. So that's where you put in a reasonable effort and prepare a logical framework of approach. Okay. Yeah, probably last question from one of you.
Sir, I don't have question yet, but I really thank you. Like your HLS is really giving hope to many students like me. This is the first time I'm listening to you in front of me. Like this really, I'm very, really happy. And like your thoughts are really amazing. You are thinking about strengthening the roots. Like it's really inspiring also. Um, so thank you so much, sir. You are like you have like HLS is giving hope. Plus, as a like, thank you for like you start up with HLS like as a founder. Like sorry, like as a founder, your thoughts are really good, and I'm happy that I'm here and listening to you. So I have no question, but saying this, thank you. You're giving hope to many students. Thank you.
Okay, I want to respond to this bit critically. I'm scared if I am giving hope because it should not be derived from me. Now, again, I'm being very frank here. The idea of HLS is this: if, as an individual, you decide that I'm going to put my past behind me, I'm going to take a step forward. I'm gonna, I'm ready to give myself an attempt. I believe in myself, but there are gaps. This is the starting standpoint. I don't want to accelerate this. Let's say if you're in a hopeless scenario, I don't want to address that. I want you to do the work. I actually want you to, my intention of doing this is, I actually want you to solve the problem, not create a motivational hope. So that is, hope creation is your responsibility, is what I believe in. Even for you, when you're here, I'm not here to create hope or create motivation. That is your responsibility. I mean it because unless this happens, hope is like a balloon. Somebody picks it, dust goes. What I'm asking you is like a football. You kick it hard, you pass it on for 3 hours, extra time, nothing happens. It's rock solid, right? 22 men with strongest of the calves kick it, it's still intact. We want footballs. It's not a balloon picking game, right? So that you look at it like this. I understand. I appreciate what you're saying. I'm thankful for that. But fundamentally, you or any one of you or somebody watching this, you decide. I believe that I deserve one more chance, or I'm going to give myself one more chance. If come with the decision, then I'll give a certificate. I don't want to give you hope. I want to give something that sounds like this, not just hope, which is all in the air. It's like Babaji ka tullu, no? What does it? What does it cater to? Right? It's your responsibility. Not just now. At any later point of time, even when you enter a surgical room at some point of time, you take responsibility of your life that I'm gonna live. No, dude, I believe that I'm gonna live. Do something, stitch it, remove it, make me survive. So if you hold it fundamentally, if you make yourself responsible for the primary feeling, your journey will be a lot more easy. Otherwise, you're constantly outsourcing. Let's say you're hoping that some faculty will come and help you pass auditing. That's dangerous. That may be hope breaks. No, this you reestablish. It could be a communication. I don't know what it is, but I'm slightly trying to realign that. Now, the realigned version is you strongly believe or you strongly desire that you want to become chartered accountants, and then we are helping. Are we clear about it? Are we good with this? Okay. So we'll have more conversations like this with more mentors. And for me, the most exciting part is next time all of you coming this side and probably having a new set of students from all of India, like probably 10 different states. So that's what we're looking at. And this time, everything you need to get to the certificate, we are there. And I'm extremely proud of how they have built themselves as students and now mentors. So expecting the same from you because the only position I see is this side. That's it. I want you to be here. Like we should merge just like that. It also makes me feel younger. People should not identify. So that's one thing. So I believe you have enough insights to work further. So my best wishes and blessings for you for your journey ahead. Don't try to make it interesting for the sake of it. Get it the right way. Just endure that. And once you do this, you'll like it. You'll start liking it. It's bound to happen at some point in time. Cool. So any closing sentences from Manju and Hari?
Trust the process. People make fun of me because I keep saying this, but unless and until you trust it, I mean, no one goes anywhere, nothing goes anywhere. So, Hari,
I got lost because the students write it trust the process on the
That's Manju's tagline.
yeah.
Trust the process.
For me, believe in yourself.
So that stays the main. Instead of trust the process, believe in yourself.
no, I say trust the process for a reason because we don't do things very, how other very mainstream. We don't do things mainstream. We ask you to write an exam. Let's say today afternoon you have an exam. You won't be willing to write an exam because it will question your belief system as to what am I doing, what is this, and all. Then you'll have to say yourself, okay, let me put in my best foot forward. Then trust the process comes in handy actually. So you'll have to trust.
It's a work secret. She's a control freak. She wants to get things done.
So this is not camera.
So whatever you ask, trust the process. Trust the process. It's easy, right? Like so, it works. That's how Manju gets work done. Anyway, that's a. You'll start trusting it. Until you trust the process. Okay. Sure. So that's about it. Thank you everyone for a reasonably good conversation, and we'll have more of this. Thank you.
Sorry.